Welcome to the Staff Qualifications Know Your Options updated webinar. This was originally presented live on Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. This webinar will provide an overview of staff qualifications, the pathways to meet education requirements, including education, training, and experience, and it will also provide a connection to the Merit Licensing Dashboard. First, let's talk about what it means to meet staff qualifications. Staff qualifications is more than just education. When we talk about licensing staff qualifications, we are talking about the hiring, education, and pre-service requirements, any training that needs to be completed upon hire and ongoing in-service training, and the education needed for your job role. Let's take a quick look at what the age and hiring requirements are for family, home, and center roles. These are the hiring requirements for those working in family, home, early learning programs. As you can see, there are minimum age and education requirements for each role. Most roles need a high school diploma or an equivalent, such as a GED, to get started. We will cover equivalents more in depth later on. These are the hiring requirements for those working in center early learning programs. As you can see, there are minimum age and education requirements for each role. The teaching staff need a high school diploma or an equivalent for their role. The leadership roles, center director, assistant director, and program supervisor, need ECE credits based on the license capacity of the facility. Again, this is based on the license capacity and not the number of children that the program is currently serving. Only one of these roles must meet the hiring education requirement, and the other individuals will need to be working towards meeting their job role education requirement. To indicate that their hiring education is being met through someone else, they must update their hiring education status bar on their dashboard. The status bar will turn green, and the licensor can see that the hiring education is being met via another user. For an example, if your center director has 50 ECE credits, they could hire a new assistant director who did not have the required 45 ECE credits yet. A couple of things to note. If someone was hired before August 1st, 2019, their hiring education status bar can show as in progress, and they should be working to meet their job role education. A waiver is not needed for the hiring education if, again, hired before August 1st, 2019. If you were hired after August 1st, 2019, you must meet the hiring education for your role, and you would continue working towards meeting your job role education. If someone is not able to access their supporting documents due to special circumstances, they do have options. You may request an affidavit to meet the hiring education requirement if your role requires a high school diploma or an equivalent. An affidavit is a sworn statement attesting that you cannot access your documents due to special circumstances. Roles that have a hiring requirement that is not a high school diploma or an equivalent may have other options, and those pathways will be covered shortly. The affidavit forms are available in English, Spanish, and Somali, and are available on our DCYF website, or can be requested by contacting our Merit Navigation team. So for individuals working in early learning programs, they will submit the completed affidavit request form to our Merit Navigation team. Once approved, it is recorded on the individual's licensing dashboard in Merit, and the hiring requirement is marked as met. We'll also notify the licensor and you as the individual of the outcome of it being recorded. Please note that if you are going through the licensing process and if you don't have a dashboard just yet, we will still process the application or the affidavit. And then once you have been issued your license, we'll be able to update your dashboard at that point. Also note that if you are a school age program or outdoor nature-based program, while you don't have a licensing dashboard yet, you're still eligible to request an affidavit to meet your high school education requirement. You'll still need to fill out the appropriate affidavit form, and you'll just have to complete a complimentary waiver with it with your licensor, as you don't have a dashboard yet. Next, we are going to look at what the job role education requirements are for each role. This is the education requirement that is connected to a timeline, which is up to 5 years for most roles. Once someone has met their hiring education, they'll need to be working towards meeting their job role education. And again, this is something that needs to be completed within 5 years for most roles. A family home licensee would need to earn the Washington State ECE initial certificate, which is 12 credits, within 5 years. Once they have completed that, they would go on to earning the Washington State ECE short certificate, which would be an additional 8 credits. The short certificate would need to be completed within 2 years of completing the initial certificate. Lead teachers and assistant teachers would need to earn the Washington State ECE initial certificate within 5 years of hire or promotion into this role. An aide does not have a job role education requirement, so they would just need to have a high school diploma or equivalent recorded in merit. If the family home licensee needs to be away from their program, WAC does state that a person with the qualifications of a family home licensee must be designated and on-site when the family home licensee is not present. If you have questions about this, please connect with your local licensor. So like family home staff, once center early learning providers have met their hiring education, they will need to begin working on their job role education, and they would need to have it completed within 5 years for most of these roles. Center directors, assistant directors, and program supervisors would need to earn the Washington State ECE state certificate within 5 years of hire or promotion. The lead teacher in a center would need to earn the Washington State ECE initial certificate, which is 12 credits, within 5 years. Once they have completed that, they would go on to earning the Washington State short certificate, which would be an additional 8 credits. The short certificate would need to be completed within 2 years of completing the initial certificate. Assistant teachers would need to earn the Washington State ECE initial certificate within 5 years of hire or promotion. Again, the aide does not have a job role education and would just need to have a high school diploma or an equivalent recorded once they have completed. I do want to call out that when someone's employment changes, it does not mean that their timeline starts over. If I go from a lead teacher in one program and a lead teacher to another program, my timeline stays. For example, whether it's in the same facility or in a new program, my timeline starts over as I'm now in a new role with a different education requirement. So moving forward, we'll be talking about how the merit dashboard fits into the education requirements. This slide shows a quick look at what the full dashboard looks like. On your licensing dashboard, you can find a quick overview of where you're at in meeting your licensed staff qualifications, your current highest employment role, other roles you may be interested in, and an overview of your applications. Most information found on your licensing dashboard is pulled from different areas of your professional record in merit. While this dashboard view is only available for licensed early learning providers at this time, we do appreciate your patience as we work to make this available for ECAP, school age, and outdoor nature-based programs. So now let's dive in about how this process works in Merit. First, if you have completed any education or credential, you'll need to complete an education application. This can be found under the My Education tab in Merit. Once you have completed the education application in Merit, you will need to submit a copy of your official transcript for review. Your education will be recorded in Merit once the application has been processed. Please note that it can take up to 45 business days to process an education application once all of the correct supporting documentation has been received. As I just mentioned, all education must be verified through supporting documents. Not receiving the necessary support documents is one of the number one reasons an application is not processed within 45 business days. If you as an individual are unable to upload your support documents at the end of the education application, that's okay. They can be emailed to education.verification@centralia.edu. So if you have international education, you'll still follow the same process with submitting an education application. But in July 2021, we updated how we process international education. So again, you'll submit an education application through Merit. And with that, you'll submit your education support documents. Our credentialing specialist will review those documents by using tools such as WES and ACRO. This results in no cost to you for translating documents. It also allows for an increase in getting your education processed and recorded in Merit. And we also provide individualized support. International education does not need to go through a translation process anymore unless our credentialing specialists reach out to you. Our tools are able to process most education unless it is written in a language that uses symbols like Japanese, Arabic, Chinese, and other languages. But again, our credentialing specialist will reach out to you directly on that. So once you have your education submitted in Merit, the next step is to make a plan. Part of the step is selecting the pathway that you will use to meet your job role education. Keep in mind that not all options are available for all roles. So different pathways, you may have completed your ECE education, whether it's through a stackable or a degree. You may have completed other degree majors or have another credential such as a CDA or a Montessori certificate, or you may want to choose the experience option, or you might want to use PACE. As you can see, there's many options or what we call pathways to meet your education requirement. You get to opt in to what you will do. The next step is to make the plan and indicate this in Merit. Everyone will complete their plan in Merit by using their licensing dashboard. This is a great tool to keep track of your progress, show licensors and facilities that the qualification has been met or is in progress, and it also tells DCY information. The dashboard helps us DCYF know what resources are needed in the community, such as expanding access to PACE or scholarships. It also provides us information on what pathways people are interested in so that we can plan better and make follow-up surveys with targeted questions and input too. So options that you may select on your dashboard may be, I want to use the experience option. I'm interested in PACE. I have other education. I have education to meet the requirement. I'm going or want to go to college. Other options also include I'm unsure and I'm exploring my options and I plan to leave the field in 5 years. So there's multiple options for you to choose from. And because there's multiple options, that's okay. So these next slides are going to cover who's eligible for each pathway. how to select it in merit, and any important information that you need to know about making your choice. I do want to stress that this choice needs to be your choice of what fits where you want to go. While we do want you to meet your licensing requirement, we do want to support you in the trajectory that you see yourself within your career. So as we learn about the various pathways, we'll also cover how to update your dashboard. As we get started, please keep in mind that someone would need to be an early learning licensed role that has staff qualifications to see their dashboard. To update their dashboard, they would select the drop-down for the job role education to expand this box. Once the box has expanded, the required education needed for this role will be shown. For this individual, they need to complete the ECE initial certificate and ECE short certificate or equivalents. So keep in mind this scenario with 2 education requirements will only be seen for center lead teachers and family home licensees. So up to this point, we've already done the work to determine what our plan was. We would then select the click here button. This will populate this next image here, which is a drop down where we get to select our pathway. Please keep in mind that you can update your pathway at any point. I do want to call out that if a pathway is not available for your role, such as the experience option, it will not populate in your dropdown. All right, so we're going to go now into the equivalent options that are available to meet one's job role education requirement. So the first equivalent that we're going to cover is the experience-based competency option. To be eligible for this pathway, an individual must have 7 years of employment in licensed care from Washington State recorded in merit. This employment requirement must be met by August 1st, 2026. This is available to those as family home licensees, lead teachers, and assistant teachers. So now that we know what the experience option is, let's look at how to select this in merit. If an individual is in the eligible role and will have 7 years of employment by August 1st, 2026, the experience option will be available to select as a pathway. If you are not in an eligible role or will not meet the timeline, this option will not be available for you to select. So in the job role education dropdown, an individual will select the option, I want to use my experience in training. They will then need to select save. Always make sure you select save. The second image shows what the dashboard will look like once the option has been selected. The dashboard would automatically turn green to show that the individual is eligible for this option. Licensors will still monitor the health and safety training compliance during their monitoring visits. I do want to call out that this option is only viewable on the dashboard. There will not be an experience represented anywhere else on the professional record within merit, other than you'll see it within your employment history. The next pathway includes alternative credentials. This includes other degrees and credentials, such as Montessori credentials, CDAs, college credits, and PACE. Our equivalent options for education document highlights all of these options. So next, we're going to talk about PACE, which is a community-based training option and is currently available. This is available for family home licensees, lead teachers, and assistant teachers to meet the equivalent of the initial and short certificate. PACE, also known as Provider Access to a Community Equivalent, is available at no cost to participants. PACE is currently available in English and Spanish and will be adapted into Somali later. PACE really leverages existing training, and it consists of childcare basics, the equal training series, the enhancing the quality of early learning, and consists of two parts of PACE to meet the initial certificate equivalent, which you see on your screen currently. The short certificate of PACE is currently under development. I do want to call out that if someone was hired before August 1st, 2019, they did not need to complete equal for their role, but if they are participating at PACE, they will need to complete equal. The two parts of PACE to meet the initial certificate equivalent include the field of early care and education and supporting child development and wellness. Part 1, the field of ECE, includes 3 modules: reflective teaching, ECE then and now, and the teaching profession. Part 2, supporting child development and wellness, includes 3 modules as well. These are child development, children and families, and child wellness. Again, PACE Part 1 and Part 2 are currently available. Part 3 is currently being developed, and Part 4 will be soon to follow. These trainings, Childcare Basics, Equal, and PACE Part 1 and Part 2 can all be found in Merit by using the Find Training tab. So new to PACE is on-the-job learning. This is job embedded learning, which consists of on-the-job work, hours, and putting it into practice. Throughout PACE, you'll be participating in these job embedded learning activities. And with the put it into practice, it has 2 components: trying it out and putting it all together. And so this is really meant to emphasize reflection that happens during the application of the learning and continues the learning cycle. So that's a lot of words. So what does that really mean, and what does that look like? So first, you attend the training and go to that training session. Then immediately after the training session, participants apply their learning to their program and implement an activity. Participants reflect on this activity. This could include questions such as what worked well, what didn't work well. Participants document their reflection through one of the many options, including video reflection, journaling, and other documentation practices. Then with their trainer, participants share their reflection. This is to show the trainer that they have met the milestones for this lesson. Each participant will work with their trainer and be able to adapt the job embedded learning activity for their classroom age group and program type. If you have questions about PACE, definitely check out our PACE webpages within DCYF's website. So again, for this scenario, we're going to state that we want to participate in PACE. Once we click Save, that will then update our dashboard. So then you'll be able to see that we have selected, I am interested in PACE, the community-based training. Your dashboard will still remain yellow until PACE has been completed through the equivalent needed for your role. So if you need PACE through the initial or PACE through the short certificate. Please keep in mind that it's okay that the job role status bar is yellow, as this indicates that an individual is still within their timeline to be working towards meeting their job role education requirement. Once all the appropriate modules have been completed for PACE, it will eventually turn the dashboard green. We are working on getting that indicator available, and it will be available by August of 2026. DCYF continues to develop additional pathways to increase access and to honor the knowledge and skill of our early learning workforce. One of these newer pathways that's currently under development is our micro-credential option. A micro-credential is an approach for demonstrating knowledge, skills, and experience in a competency area. It comprises of several micro-learning units that build up to a micro-credential. Micro-learning units include activities, assessments, and projects which happen in bite-sized segments that are designed to support busy, working early learning providers. This option will be available for those with a verified degree in Merit in something other than early childhood education. GCYF recently conducted a micro-credential pilot, which included a participant feedback component that will help shape future micro-credential opportunities. More details will be shared about this pathway in the coming months, as well as what was learned in the pilot. However, in the meantime, know that if you have a recorded degree in merit, you do not need to do anything else at this time. You will not be considered out of compliance and a licensing waiver is not needed. For this scenario, we are stating that we have a non-ECE degree. In the job role education dropdown, an individual will select the option, I already have a degree that is not ECE. They will then click Save. The second image shows what the dashboard will look like once the option has been selected. Again, the dashboard would remain yellow until the micro-credential has been completed. Please keep in mind that it's okay that the job role is yellow, as this indicates that the individual is still within their timeline to be working towards meeting their job role education requirement. Remember, yellow, stay mellow. The third pathway is ECE specific education. This includes a Washington State ECE Stackable Certificate and ECE degrees. The ECE Stackable Certificates build on one another and can lead into an associate's degree in early childhood education and beyond. By design, the Stackable Certificates are transferable, portable, and recognized within the early learning profession. The Stackable Certificate begins with the initial certificate. This is 12 credits completed over 3 classes. The short certificate builds on the initial certificate with an additional of 8 credits for a total of 20 credits. With the short certificate, what's great about it is you have options for specializations. This may include just a general specialization, infant toddler care, school age care, family child care, administration, home visitor and family engagement, and brand new as of 2023 is an outdoor nature-based learning specialization. Once you've completed the short certificate, you would then have the state certificate with an additional of 27 more credits. The total number of credits depends on the college. So the state certificate can be anywhere from 47 to 52 credits. To find available ECE programs, check out our ECE career planning portal. There you can find the specific point of contact for the early achiever or the early childhood education programs who can help you learn about their programs and scholarship opportunities, such as the Early Achievers Grant. Now that we know what the stackable certificates are, let's look at how to select this in merit. For this scenario, they are either a lead teacher or a family home licensee. All other roles will have just one job role education requirement listed. This individual already had their initial certificate recorded. This updates the dashboard to show that the initial certificate has been met, which you can see now in black font. They also marked that they have additional education to submit. The dashboard would remain yellow until the short certificate has been completed. As I stated before, keep in mind that it's okay for the job role to be yellow, as this indicates the individual is still within their timeline to be working towards meeting their job role education requirement. Once this individual has met the initial and short certificate or an equivalent requirement, their job role education status bar will turn green. Now that you've updated your pathway on your merit dashboard, you have successfully recorded your plan. The next step would be to complete your plan within the timeline if you haven't already. If you choose an educational pathway, you will need to submit a new education application in merit as you progress through your educational journey. So we've covered a lot, so let's do a quick recap. In order to support individuals with their available options, we need to know what you already have. So make sure you have any education or credentials earned recorded in merit. This is really the first step in identifying how does your current education and credentials work towards meeting your job role education requirement. It is possible that you have enough ECE or ECE school age combined credits to meet your full job role education. Once your education has been recorded in Merit, check out your dashboard to see your progress towards meeting your staff qualifications. Remember, the information found on your licensing dashboard is pulled from other areas of Merit. So if you have missing or expired training, such as first aid, you may need to update your completion date. There are many resources that we have shared during our time together, and there are many more available. To find our resources, check out our qualifications and role requirements web pages. There is a section for each program type, so make sure you are looking at the correct one. If you haven't already, get connected with us. You can sign up for our Early Learning Division newsletter. We also have a page on our web pages that allows you to watch any recorded webinars that you may miss or may want to watch again. If you have any follow-up questions, please reach out to our Merit Navigation team. We are always happy to assist. You can reach us by email at merit@dcyf.wa.gov, or you can call us and leave us a voicemail at 1-866-482-4325, and be sure to select option 5. And thank you for joining us.